So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce today's storyteller, Xin Yao, who is what is socio-technical engineer, architect, change smuggler, which she brought this term into my life when we had our prep call. And I have to admit, I'm obsessed with it. Um, Change smuggler, indeed. And Shin is also a dear friend of design learning. She's been here in the space for at least a couple of years now. So I'm just so happy to have her here today sharing her story with us. So over to John for the first question.
So, Jen, why did you choose to be on this journey?
Yeah. Hey, everyone, officially. I'm saying hello from Copenhagen, Denmark. And thank you, Maya. Thank you, John, for the introduction and this beautiful question. I think before I go there, I would really like to, yeah, I think there are two things on my mind right here. I want to say one is what Rick said in the What Struck You conversation about the moment here, right now. And that got me think about the lyrics in the song. There's a power to the here where we are now, or where we're at, actually. And then that got me segued into what Peter Block said about the power of the present moment. That at every single time we have the choice, or we are even confronted with our freedom to think of the present moment as a continuation of the past, or as the first like subtle nudge or change we want to introduce in our life, the beginning of the future. So which story we take on board is totally up to us. And that's what came to my mind. And I think it's a little relevant for the story as well. Secondly, I want to say thank you to all the 29 people. I think Maya and John had no choice. They had to be here. But one of the alternative question to that, why did you choose to show up, is what are you giving up to be here today? And knowing that I will be taking 30 minutes from you being here, my heart is filled with gratitude for all of you. Also for Maya and John for convening this space. Sorry for the a little long segue into the answer to your question, John. But I think part of that choice to be on this journey is given to me. I had no choice that I grew up in the communist China. The common good or the communistic version of the common good is what was given to me by my cultural heritage. Um, and the I think the also the various crossroads in my in my life. So that's probably the logical part of the answer. A more personal part of the answer of why do I choose to be on this journey of practicing the common good protocols and being a social activist in my own way is probably because I, in a way, need to heal my own wounds, my broken parts, by contributing to healing our collective wounds. I think a lot of psychologists' friends have told me that a lot of our individual traumas are we got them when we were in relation to our adults and other people. So the way we got them healed is when we're together, exploring the undiscussables and whatever. So that's another reason why I think the more personal reason. And as Maya also beautifully wrote in this summary of the storytelling, my journey has really been a navigation of polarities between individualism and collectivism, which was given to me, and also by choice later, and between the technical certainty and control, because by education I'm a computer scientist, and the human mystery that fascinates me and confuses me at the same time, always. So that's probably, I still can't, many times I feel I have a hard time fighting my own perfectionistic penchant to problem solving. I want to treat all problems as optimization problems. I can write code for and compile, and then, that naive Newtonian worldview. Sometimes I still have that, and so embracing the mystery isn't easy for me. And so the word journey is quite correct, John, because I'm still on it, and it's by no means like this way only. It's like sometimes two steps forward, one step back, or maybe one step back, one step forward, two steps back for me. Yeah, so probably that's the overarching question sorry, answer to your question. I hope that kind of makes sense.
Totally. Um, and I think a lot of us on this call can probably relate to a little bit hesitant to embrace the mystery. So yeah, you mentioned it's not a straight linear journey, as it never really is. What are some of the things that have caused you to pause, perhaps milestones on this journey?
Oh wow, there are so many. There are, when I was contemplating milestones in my life, which is like, okay, I wouldn't claim that this has been as exciting a life as many other people's, but I just couldn't stop counting my own milestones. But I'll be brief because we don't have much time. Um, I guess the first thing I already mentioned is just like, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing. I grew up with these collective values in the form of like communistic common good protocols. Like, for instance, I grew up in a town called Harbin in China. And when I was like 8 years old, there was a big flood in the city, and my grandparents, and almost all the citizens adult citizens in the city, they went to do voluntary service to build the Harbin Songhua River embankment. It was built by the citizens of Harbin without any payment within just, I think it's just a month's time when the flood warning came. And then when I was a little schoolgirl, we had this sort of like a state propaganda. I don't believe there's another Chinese person here, but it's called to do good deeds and copying the good example of Lei Feng, and basically to help strangers and well, this person we're supposed to copy. He's a very, he's a soldier. He had a very small income, but he often, helped people buy train tickets for a woman who lost her ticket and so forth. So I was like, as a small like 8 years old, I knocked on my neighbor's doors together with my friends. Hey, do you need sweeping floors? Do you need somebody to clean your windows? So that's kind of, I feel it's not a kind of like a big milestone, but I grew up with that. And but then the next one I think is that for those of you who knew a little bit of the Chinese history, there was this thing called the Cultural Revolution, and that had a big, big effect on our national psyche. That's the contraction of the national psyche of all this goodness. Uh, so basically, the Cultural Revolution disdained on intellectuals, disdained on people who use their brains, who use their intellectual skills to create value. And my my family was unfortunately one of those persecuted. And I remember my grandpa was a doctor who was educated in Japan. That was a big sin because that's like capitalist and trade treason. Like you studied like medicine in Japan. And he and all of the other people were put on a big stage, by the Red Guards, and they shaved his head like one side only one side to humiliate him. Like it's called a yin yang hairstyle, I think. And my dad, who had to get on, well, he didn't like he got on the stage late in the evening and had to shave the other half off. And my dad had came from a very good family because his family was purely poverty. Like they had nothing, so nobody could accuse him of anything. That's why he could do this. And so when I was a teenager, my parents didn't allow me to take my friends home because it could be your family selling you off. It could be those informers that, people are selling off their parents to be the Red Guards, to be the revolutionaries. And so from a very early age, I was told self-reliance, don't trust not even your friends. And I was in, but it's also in a way because my parents were super stressed. They were taken, their possibility of education was taken away, and they had to go to a labor camp. And so I had to emotionally take care of my parents in a way, and to I think at that time it's just like I have to do good. I have to get the best grades to deserve their attention because they were so stressed. And so I think my perfectionism started to develop at that time. I had to really be good. That's probably the second milestone, kind of like the disillusionment from the collective and the self-reliance um, treadmill, perfectionistic treadmill. Yeah, and coming forward, it's just like part of my teenage years was also marked by my role of being a student leader. Like my class had 80 people. I don't think I've ever seen a class in Denmark with 80 people, but in China at that time it was a normal size. So every class needed at certain times a class leader, so doing organization together with the teacher and so forth. And I was also like a lot of subject leaders. So if you get the best grade, you get to be the subject leader of English, of math. I was a lot of them. And I think in a way, these organizing roles, they are both status symbol. It's kind of an ego thing, but they were also giving me more opportunities to feel alive. Like, for instance, I was responsible for organizing snow cleaning, like all the roads, all the communal roads. In Harbin, my hometown, in the wintertime, it can be -40, both centigrade, Celsius and Fahrenheit. And we all had to go on the street and use the shovel to like remove the ice and so forth. So I was in charge of organizing that for my class. I remember clearly. I really enjoyed that. I really feel alive. I feel the joy of being me and organizing, things, part of something greater. I wasn't aware until much later what those roles had done for me. And then coming to the last milestone in China, I think that was because I think, yeah, despite the kind of nostalgic teenage years, we all had to pass a very narrow gate, which is to be admitted into the university. At that time, the ratio was 10 to 1. So meaning out of 10 people, you probably, if you got the grades right, you can get, it's a zero-sum game basically. And so not sharing your knowledge with, not helping the others, because if you help the others, then you might be the loser. And so that was kind of pushing me back to the individualistic way of thinking again. And then at that time, the Deng Xiaoping introduced the open door policy, like allow some people to get rich because we realized as long as we Chinese were poor, we couldn't do anything. Like so those people who get rich, who get smart, could be you. But it could only be a small part. So the American dream, cogito ergo sum, and all the I think therefore I am, even Christianity. Like I think when I first discovered Christianity, I was just like, oh my God, this is great because my salvation is a private deal between me and God, right? I don't have any dependency on anybody else, right? I want to be a Christian. And so I kind of in the university, I got myself involved in religious activism, just giving people the freedom to choose whatever religion. And that was a big, big no-no. My parents got so nervous. So they economically supported me and nudged me to get out, get the hell out of this country before you got into prison. And that's why I ended up in Denmark at a very early age. And I started studying computer science. That was kind of the next milestone, right? So I got a lot of push toward like, don't do this kind of activism thing again, please. Don't hurt your family and don't do this. So yeah, let me just study in peace. So kind of like I imagined a neat and tidy future for myself. And I really, that computer science fascinated me because software is logical and you can use it to do great stuff. Like, at least at that time, it was all deterministic solutions or optimization. So I kind of got this very fascinated by this Newtonian worldview, like the world is a giant clock. And, the laws of nature is kind of like these gears and springs causing everything to move in a logical way. And I have to be part of that. So it felt good that I learned to craft. And now I have a craft that can get me good jobs, good salaries. I can be total control of it. What's not to like, right? I'm not dependent on anybody else, only the code. So that got me further away into the other side of pendulum until I think life kept presenting me with crossroads. And the next crossroads is actually one of the projects I was most proud of as a software developer in a consulting company. It was a huge one, it was a prestige one. I got on the team and during 6 months, we work out a piece of insurance software. Long story short, the thing that we were really proud to build and produced, the decision was made 6 months later to drop that system entirely by the client. And the reason was not that we did a poor job. The reason was that the sponsor that started that project didn't align with the client sponsor. So there was a political, like this way. And as an excuse, they said, okay, every piece of software in this company, in this insurance company, needs to use a front-end framework. You guys didn't implement it, and it's too expensive to change that now. So we'll do the rework ourselves. So our software, 6 months of work, it's kind of dropped in the garbage. And that was kind of like a total wake-up call for me. Software is not this giant clock after all, right? It's um, there's uh, there's more to creating something that is useful and impactful than to make it perfect. So that was my segue onto the architect path. So I'm not a building architect. I draw poorly, but I'm a software architect. I was a software architect, and I thought, okay, if not for anything else, this would increase my odds of having my fingers on the pulse, having the impact in the system we design. And then, oh my God, the next milestone is kind of like I got promoted to the chief architect after 12 and a half years working in the biggest financial institution in Scandinavia. Uh, and then, I was close to a perfectionistic burnout because people put me on very, very strategic projects and connecting the dots and so forth. And I had 30 to 40% of my time on connecting the dots, basically deconflicting the executives who had different agendas, different tribe leads. And I was just like, seriously? This is not what I was educated to do, and this drains me. And then I also had what do I call that at that time? It's anger-fueled social activism, understood in a way that I was into the domain-driven design, collaborative modeling, and getting people in the room and doing stuff together But a lot of people have a different perception. So I was fighting for that, and I was having a lot of anger and resentment for people who didn't think uh, like the way I did. And that basically led to my resignation. I was full of anger. I said, goodbye. I don't want to work here anymore. And so I became a consultant. I was just like, okay, I have a few decades of my life left to make a difference in my work. I don't want to use all of it in this bank. So curious to see how other workplaces look like. And that's my consulting role. And oh my God, I got into so many rabbit holes, including all the Peter Block's work. That's after I became a consultant. I started to dig into system thinking, complexity thinking, OD, Peter Block's work. I kind of become a jack of all trades and specialist of none. I started to speak about my experience. I also became a public figure at different conferences and so forth. Uh, New generalist. Okay. And then what I haven't managed to get rid of, despite all my new research, is still this anger-fueled social activism. So I got into, I think more than a couple of years ago, in Irvine, in California, I was facilitating this big merger and acquisition. It was a 2-day workshop. A lot of people were flown in, very high profile. After day one, there was 3 CTOs, and they discovered, okay, now let's the day one didn't go well because there was a lot of messiness surfaced. So let's converge a little bit faster. We only had 1 day left. They worked out a model in the evening, and they asked me as the key facilitator to change the plan for day two. And I was pure mad. I was so angry at them. In the entire evening, I was so mad at them, and I couldn't sleep. But I still sort of reworked the plan, merging what they wanted with engagement. That workshop got really high score, and but the shock effect for me was that, oh my God, there was so much self-reliance and binary thinking from my side. I didn't make a single effort to understand their world. All I felt was hurt. All I felt was that I was representing the common good, and you guys were imposing your imperial, whatever, CTO, CEO structure on me. I want to fight for the oppressed and whatever, right? And I didn't see how things were. Like I was too focused on how things ought to be. And so I that was kind of like a big learning. It wasn't until several months later when I had an honest conversation with those CTOs, I discovered how much better would that session had been if I had just taken the effort to listen a little bit better instead of getting totally blinded by my own anger and resentment. And so that was kind of another milestone that sort of got me into like, yeah, it's not a black and white thing. It's not a departure from the current culture. It's about a merging. And unless I learn how to merge what I believe in with my compassion for the the pains and the struggles of the dominant culture, um, I would never be really able to help. Or, well, Peter said we shouldn't be helpful, but let's just say useful. I would make myself useful. Yeah, I realize I always talk so much. This is kind of like this is the final thing I want to share. So right now, I think I am. I wouldn't say it's a milestone that is over yet, but it's about this merging, experiencing the mystery and catalyzing the common good protocols as a change smuggler, as a method whisperer, as a where's my as a highlighter of connections, kind of like this highlighter pen go around highlighting connections. And then the key piece for me is engaged social actions, from an angry social activist to an engaged social action, a bit inspired by Thich Nhat Hanh's engaged Buddhism. Like he was engaging the Capitol Hill, he was engaging a lot of the leaders in this world to say, yeah, I mean, I think even so not capitalist, even Catholic priests went to his French temple to be like to practice Buddhism, right? So I think we are in a time that we cannot afford rejecting each other as the wrong side. We have to in some way merge. It's scary because, like Sigmund Freud said, there was this phrase called the narcissism of small differences. We tend to think that our differences are bigger than our similarities, but actually the opposite is true. So that's my current milestone. I'm exploring. Sorry, stop talking, Xin.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that. Considering all those things, when you look back on it and look ahead at the same time, what surprises you and what do you hope to see as you continue this journey?
What surprises me? Yeah, it's a lot of surprises. Like how persistent my self-reliance is. Like my needs and wants for the world to accept me, approve of me, and uh, do not remove the love from me. Uh, and I have to be good. I have to be good to deserve that. I think that's an energy that keeps surprising me. And it also related to that, what keeps surprising me is that I people tend to tell me so sweet stuff about my the way I kind of could make change happen, but I still feel I'm an imposter. I mean, I do not say this out of humility at all. Like I cannot really get myself to step into my gift, and that is because I think what people are telling me is the gift of navigating the unknown, leading that. And a part of me doesn't like the unknown still. It's still like that clock, that big Newtonian clock that ticks. And so when I'm doing this work, a lot of times when people say, "Oh, Xin, you are such a good engineer, you're such a good technical architect. Why do you go to that all that facilitation stuff? It's all soft skills. We need hard skills. AI is here. We need hard skills." And which is like keep having these belittling moments, surprisingly, that I still need the hard skills. Like all these things have been working years that mean so much to me does not matter because they're soft skills. That's the surprise. And did you ask me what do I hope to see as well?
Yeah, what do you hope to see as you
Yeah,
continue in this journey? I mean, that's a hard thing to balance.
yeah. Uh, I think yeah, I work a lot with AI these days, and I hope more people, I mean, everybody talks about context. Everybody talks about context engineering, how to give the AI the context. My hope is really, can we see the human context a little more? It's not about communicating like everything we know and dump it in a common language and give it to the AI. The human context is way, way more rich, way more exciting, way more messy, and therefore also way more creative. So that's one hope. The other is about it's about communities. I know in this community we have I think probably the most correct definition of community, but I see so many communities that have turned into tribes. So how can we be communities and not tribes? How can we not be tribal? I think Peter, I don't know, Peter is probably not here today, but he once was asked by Chad Littlefield, why do you have to ask people to get into groups of three? Why is not two? And he said, oh, no, it's not that question. It's the question about why do you have to shuffle people? Like people just got to know each other and then you want to shuffle them. And you guys do too. I think the next breakout, you're going to shuffle people. That's annoying. And Peter said, you know what? If you don't shuffle people after 2 to 3 rounds, they become tribes. And we don't want tribes. And that has stayed so much with me. So I think maybe the change of our time really requires our full humanity. Not only, the rational man is no longer the highest being on the evolutionary ladder, nor is the AI that is inherited all the data that is it's building its wisdom upon. I think we need the wisdom of the heart, and how do we open them in communities and not in tribes is what I'm hoping for.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shin. And you mentioned at the very beginning, I think that I think you didn't think your life was as exciting as some others. I will say
No.
that this is a very exciting story for me. I was just completely captured the whole time that you were speaking. So I hope that um, doesn't strike a chord with you anymore. I think your story is very exciting and very worth sharing. Uh,
Oh, thank you so much, Maya.
yeah, that's just what struck me about your story. So as um, in that spirit, we're gonna go into breakout rooms of 3 or 4 people, probably with new people in your room. I hope that you get to make some new friends. We'll be in there for about 10 minutes again around the question, what struck you about what you just heard? All right, opening up in 1 second. Now. Mary, did you get your invitation? She's stuck in the ether. All right. Let me give you my number, John, so you can text me when you're in Cincinnati or if you have any trouble.
Yeah.
Here, it's right here. Thank you so much for the offer.
I mean, it's an honor to one to have a chance to go, and then secondly, I know what it's like setting up big events. And that last 2 hours is the worst.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try to, luckily the welcome reception's in another space. I'm gonna try to set up for Tuesday and Wednesday, like on Monday already, so that
Yeah,
yeah, it's
you
all
have
good to
to.
go. But
I
at
once
first it was just gonna be me, and I was like, I
this
think
isn't
now
cool.
Gabriella, who's on the call, she also offered, which is nice. And then Beverly hopefully will come too. And I think Peter said one of his sons. So,
Great.
yeah.
I helped set up at an event about 4 months ago, and and I had like a session later in the afternoon, and I was going to get the early help set up, and we set this whole room up for about 70 people, and then 35 minutes before the event, maybe it was an hour before the event was to begin, there was like a gas leak in the building.
Oh my gosh.
And they had access to a building across the street. It was like in a downtown space, but we
Oh,
had
shoot.
to like ask the group to set the room up when they arrived. It was
Oh no.
it was wild. So none of that. Okay.
Yeah, let's like put out the energy that that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. And you said about 105 people are signed up
Yeah, mm-hmm.
with more each day.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
No. How are you managing that?
Look at chicken with his head cut off.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Descriptive.
Maybe oh. Yeah, I'm losing my mind a little bit.
I would imagine that there's some surprises every day.
Yep.
And how are you managing the father and child while you're
So
doing
my mom's coming. I'm letting my, husband's gonna get a break for a few days because he was gonna come, but I'm like, he has to work too, so for him to try to work and then watch Ollie would be crazy. So my mom's coming and she's gonna stay with us in the hotel and she's gonna be on babysitting duty basically.
yeah, right on.
So, which is great because she gets more time with him because we only were
Mhm.
in Florida for a week. And then also, yeah, that'll be nice. And like Peter was trying to get my husband to come too because he just wants to meet him, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to him. I'm gonna be stressed. He's gonna have to share a hotel room with my mom. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
better for him to hang out back here. It's like at my dad's house, there's a lot of room, so like it's just better.
Are you in Florida right now?
I'm in Maryland.
In Maryland.
Yeah, we just got here on Tuesday or Wednesday. Um, which is nice because it's a little bit colder here. I was like, apparently last week it was like 90 degrees, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually need some cool weather. I'm like in a little bit over the 85-degree weather. I know that that sounds crazy to people who have been stuck in winter for a while, but
No.
yeah,
Yeah. No, too much of the same thing. There's always too much of the same thing.
exactly.
Yeah. We've had a couple days here in Minnesota where it was 80 degrees 2 days ago,
Oh wow.
and today it's 47.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like
So
here. I
it's
mean,
nice
like,
to get that little cool.
yeah, the change in weather is just crazy. I'm like, it's wild. About what time we went into breakouts. Uh-oh, you're freezing. Is it me? I think it's you, John. You're a little bit um lagging. I don't know if your Wi-Fi's cutting out.
It's me, probably. Uh, Figure that out.
I hope it's, well, I don't hope it's you, but I hope it's not me. It's
Yeah,
still
I'm
breaking.
lagging.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna turn my video off and see if I can figure this out. Hmm. No, it's not you. I'm sure of it. This has been happening for me, and I don't know what it's about.
Maybe you want to jump off and come back on.
Oh, but you're muted.
Seems better.
Yeah.
Everyone's back in 35 seconds.
Perfect. Is the space that you're using in Cincinnati for the event, it's in a cathedral, but like, have you been in it before?
I've never been there, but it's in like the basement.
Nice.
Yeah. Kind of a big space, like a big empty space, but it'll be good. We'll make it, we'll liven it up. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. We have about a little less than 10 minutes left. So in that time, we can do a what struck you about the conversation you just had, about what you heard today, or any questions you might have for Shin directly as well. We don't like to call it a Q&A, but could be a Q&A if you want it to be. Again, feel free just to unmute. We're a small group.
So this is Gary Jusla. I just want to say, so my little breakout, it just could not have been better. And we really built so much on what Xin Zhao had just shared. But we really built on that, understanding the criticality of the human side of life and focusing on that because it's so easy to zero in on perfectionism, and perfectionism in itself takes you to all the wrong places. And people sell and make a lot of money on being perfectionist and absolutely the best. And that's not the answer. That's not where it is. So what she shared this morning and then what we had in our little breakout group just pulled that all together. Really made a lot of sense to me. So thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Mary, you're unmuted. Do you want to speak up? Your background. Anyone else?
I wanted, this is Tina. I wanted to thank Xian for just her story and how it wove between collectivism, individualism, and what worldview we're put in different situations. And I also wanted to ask Xian, is Harbin where there's the big ice sculpture? You had mentioned how the extreme
Yes.
cold, and I wonder, was that a part of your growing up? I wonder.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's the fun part. We have these huge ice slides on the river, and these wooden slides, and you pull it up, and the huge ice blocks. Imagine a slide that is like 100-meter long, all built with ice blocks, and that's
Wow.
that's yeah. We
Wow.
I grew up with ice, both using it and removing it from the road.
Cool. Yeah, you had mentioned the part about clearing the ice. You felt really alive. This was physical labor, but it
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was a
I
part of yeah.
I live in Denmark, and it's in the wintertime. I mean, our streets, I don't know. I felt like my little street can turn up into a big ice skating whatever muddy thing, and I really miss the days when people just got on the street and remove everything, and it's not -40 at all here, but
Nice.
we mind
Thank
our
you.
own businesses. Thank you for that question. It makes me so happy to think about those moments.
Yeah, I'll jump in. What struck me was some similarities between Jin's life and mine. Not that I grew up in communist China, but in terms of being in software and thinking initially that perfect technical solutions were, oh, that was the right thing and that was the most important thing. And quickly having experiences like, oh, I need to learn to listen to people, which is what led me to Peter Block's work. First facilitation in general, and then finally flawless consulting got me connected with Peter Block, and just realizing that there's not only is it essential for me to listen to people in order for me to design a better solution, but the process of working together as a group is critical to the ultimate success of any technical solution, because then there is the shared ownership of wanting the thing to work and having the willingness to work through the inevitable glitches and things that aren't quite what you would hope, to actually make it
Yeah.
a working thing. So,
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, John. It resonates a lot. I think you know what thinking binary is in because
oh
you're
yeah,
in the same world. And I think listening, if we really care to listen as the way you described, we always hear the system, not the binary, not just the zeros and the ones. And unfortunately, we tend to listen to form an opinion of what's being said. Is it true, false, relevant, not relevant, important, that sort of thing? Or if can I fix it? If I share with you, oh, I feel sad, probably a lot of you would immediately, think about how to like help me. But in a relationship, that's also kind of like sometimes we just need to be there and
Yeah.
not to think about fixing. And my software mind tend to want to fix a lot of things binary.
Oh yeah, it's hard to overcome the optimization urge and everything. And it's like
Yeah,
a lot of things with people are not optimization, they're
yeah,
presence.
yeah,
Their
exactly.
presence and openness and willing to work through the messiness and be comfortable with not knowing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Be comfortable with not knowing.
Probably have time for one more, or Shin, perhaps you have something you'd like to close today.
Uh, yeah. So what Zhang has shared reminded me of a poem I just accidentally ran into. It's very short. It's written by a guy called John O'Donohue. I think a lot of you might know him. And the poem is called Fluent, if I remember correctly. It's I'd love to live like a river flows, surprised, sorry, carried by the surprises of its unfolding. I'd love to live like a river flows, carried by the surprises of its unfolding. I hope I remembered correctly. And this is the reason why I have this in mind is also because I just did a keynote at something called a FlowCon. I researched on flow. How do we feel individual flow, personal flow, and collective flow? And the surprises in flow. Probably for lean people, it's not very welcome sometimes, but I think we both need the delivery lean kind of flow and the generative flow with all the surprises we can flow with. Otherwise, we're gonna be flowed by the AI and by whatever that is coming at us in this world.
Mhm.
So the capacity to hold opposites in our mind and the heart, in a way, also our guts. I think recently it makes me realize that I don't know if you guys are familiar with something called a uh, vegan authority, and it's about keeping calm in our nervous system. I think we so much need that. Joe Hudson, one of the coaches at Myers, and he's like, we have these three systems: the mind, the heart, and the guts. And what did he say? He said, we can only rise to the height of our lowest system. So if we don't feel safe, we will not be able to be the connectors we want to be. We will not be able to practice the common goods. We'll probably be entrenched in the self-pity and whatever. Sometimes we can get here to tank up, but many times we can keep our nervous system regulated. And that's a field I'm exploring into as well. Sorry for the segue. I don't know why I mentioned that even. Yeah.
I wanted to add one thing quickly, which is
Yeah.
one of the things that you cheesed at the end was you're thinking about AI and the human context. And I would just welcome conversations about that because I think it's easy to be fearful. Um, and I would like to not be in an either or stance about AI. I'd like to. So I was really intrigued by
Yeah.
expansive curiosity and discovery. And if there's things that you write or things that this community can learn, I'd love to be guided.
Oh yeah, that speaks to my um I don't know, it's something I've been scared of doing, writing. I see Graham Laws is here. I hope he can teach me how to get started with writing. But yeah, I don't have anything written down. I have a lot of thoughts. Um, but I think for that conversation you mentioned, I finally got the courage um, like I've just submitted a intro session at Como Camp in Vienna. It's something. The title is "Who Are We Now?" Um,
Mm.
um, who are we now? Uh, how? Oh my God, I even forgot. It's Oh yeah, a conversation on our identity shifts in the age of AI, and I've been terrified to do that, but I finally got the courage to actually frame my intro session that way. But yeah,
That's great. Well, a lot of us
yeah,
older folks are realizing that maybe video is the way to go anyway.
yeah, could be, yes. That's a good encouragement and a way to keep me a little bit more accountable. Thank you for that, Laura.
Beautiful. Well, I'm aware we're a little bit over our time. I just want to thank all of you for being here and thank Shin so much for sharing your story and your knowledge with us. Um, if anybody wants to hang back, I'll hang it back for a little bit. But if not, have a wonderful weekend. And thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Take care.
Thank you,
Take care.
Jen. Bye all.
Bye. Happy weekend.
Embrace the polarities.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, Shin. It was beautiful to be with you again.
Thank you, Mary. Good to see you and be in the small group with you.
Yes, good. Blessings on your continued journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a journey I'm still on.
Oh, we all are. Yeah. Thank you.
Zigzagging, spiraling, whatever way.
So this is Gary. I just want to add to you, Jin. Thank you for sharing about the anti-intellectualism that was going on in China as you were growing up. And I shared that in our breakout group after that, because what is going on in the United States of America is exactly like that. We are now in an anti-intellectual era. We are attacking science, we're attacking animals, we're attacking just everything, the whole planet. We're attacking medicine. We're attacking climate change like it doesn't exist. I mean, all of these things. And so we need to be aware of that. You survived that, ultimately, but it was painful. What we're going through now in the United States is painful. So I appreciate you laying that out. And our breakout group, we really came together in a very powerful way. And one of the concepts that came out was the concept of being religious for the heart, religiousness around the heart, caring about the heart. That's what really matters ultimately. And we need to also not ignore science and medicine and animals. This is what also is so critical. And so we're in our own challenge now, I can tell you that.
Bless.
Yeah. If only the polarity of that is the heart. I might fear it isn't. Well, the opposite. I really feel I really feel that because my in-law is a researcher in a Dutch university, and she told that we have been so blessed in Europe with so many expatriates, scientists and researchers from the US. It's like an exodus of brains entering. Yeah. And that's bad for your country, of course.
It is, of course.
Yeah. But thanks for sharing.
Take care, everyone.
You.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
Jim.
all.
Yeah,
Weekend.
bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Maya,
for the great
see you in Cincinnati in
See
May.
you in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
Maya, I had a question for you if you have 1 minute.
Totally.
So I just learned of your gathering. I'm interested in the small group that I was in. I was offered that he would be willing to transfer his registration to me. He said to talk to you. He's not able to go. He's having hand surgery.
Oh, it's
Uh,
John.
yes,
Um,
Harris.
yeah, we just processed his refund, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm happy to register you anyway. Can you send me your link in the chat?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you right now with a link and a little bit of information. Um
Perfect.
and
That's
yeah,
a nice Van Gogh behind you.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I just learned of it today, and we were in that conversation. That was part of our like intro, and
Amazing.
and I was like, okay, yeah. Because when I introduced myself, I was like, oh, I'm just trying to figure it out as I go.
We would love to have you. Like that would be
Yes,
amazing. Are you how far are you? Where are you
I'm
based?
far. I'm in Metro Boston.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me send you. I'll send you an email right now with the info. That way you can
Perfect.
get your travel plans
Thank you.
sorted. Yes, it would be great to have you, and I can connect in person, which I love.
Yay! Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
And
So
Gary, you're
nice
going
it
to be
worked
there
out.
too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just want to add. I just want to say, Maya, thank you for helping organize these events for the journey of growth and belonging. I mean, these for me are certainly as valuable, if not even better, than our other one that we had just a week ago. I mean,
Amazing.
I like those, but these ones they've really been meaningful, and I look forward to being there though for the our meeting in Cincinnati.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
Yeah. So you take care. See you.
Yeah, enjoy Cincinnati.
We'll miss you. We'll miss you
Yes.
dearly. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a
Thank
wonderful weekend.
you.
Yeah, bye.